What's up, y'all? Episode 12 of I'm So Beastly. I'm Mr. Richard, the host, the dope, fresh host, Black. Yes, very cool. I love doing I'm So Beastly. It's actually very fun for me. So we're going to continue doing it because I love it. And of course, the vision of 1 million followers slash subscribers by episode 134. Since this is episode 12, we have 122 episodes to go. Um, Once again, no growth so far, um, which is fine. We're still growing. We're still getting content out there, right? The first few episodes were like a year ago. So we're still getting back in the groove of things, getting consistent. That got to be consistent before we can get anything. But 24 followers, subscribers on YouTube and 9 on Spotify, which is fine. Which is fine. We're gonna improve. We're gonna get there. We're on our way. I can feel it. I can feel it. It's juicing soon, right? Um, and as always, of course, my books, the links to my books are in the description below. Winston Feathersby, I'll let you know how it goes, and Dream Journal. Okay, both of those are down below. Check them out. Don't check them out. Obviously, up to you. But they're always there. Of course, they're going to be there, and eventually you'll snipe them, and I know you're going to love them because they're freaking good. Um, Unbiased, of course. But let's put that behind us and move on to the topic at hand today. It is my mantra, I guess. Um, Maybe not my mantra, my credo. Some words I live by, essentially, words I try to pass on to everybody. Maybe my mantra, I don't know. Tawo, things always work out. That's my mantra, I guess you could say. But anyway, this is a big theme of my life, something I pass on constantly. I let y'all know what it was going to be in the last episode. Um, But this episode is about perception is reality. Okay. I talk about this a lot. Um, and I know that this is true. Okay. How you perceive the world is your reality. Okay. The mind is incredibly powerful, right? If you think something can happen, more than likely it will happen. At least you'll have a better chance of it happening than if you believe it can't. Okay. So this essentially falls into law of attraction. So law of attraction essentially states, and I'm paraphrasing, what you put out is what you'll get back, right? So if you're putting out love, you're going to get love back. If you're putting out hate, you're going to get hate back, right? That type of thing. So essentially, if you perceive the world as negative, you're going to get negativity back. If you perceive the world as positive, you're going to get positivity back, right? And things are just going to flow better. The vibrations are just going to be higher if you have a better outlook. You think things are going to be more positive for you. You think things are going to work out. Tawo, things always work out. Okay? No, they do not. It's not always an immediate thing, a short-term thing, but in the long run, they always work out. And it may not be what you expected it to be. It may not be what you hoped for. It might be better. It might be different, right? But it's going to work out in your favor if you just have this understanding, this mindset out there, right? Positivity is everything. I know it sounds cheesy, it sounds corny, but it's true, right? Positivity is everything. Stay positive, be positive, okay? These are the things that can help you. And it starts simple, it starts very simple. You just just start thinking the day is going to be great. Start by saying it's a great day today, right? I am having a great day. Right? These things already start you off ready. Okay? Start you off good to go. Think about it like this too. When you get up in the morning, you're tired, you're groggy, it's a random Thursday and you're dreading going to work. Right? Typical, fairly typical, okay? On the flip side, think about it like this. Okay? You don't have to go to work, right? You don't have to. But also, you get to go to work. Okay? Plenty of people don't have jobs. Be thankful, be grateful that you do. You get to go to work. No, of course it's not where we want to be. We'd of course love to be, sleeping in, doing our reading, maybe going on some nature hikes, nature walks, maybe fishing, doing our thing, doing whatever we want to do. But instead we're going to work, right? But we get to go to work. It's a great feeling because we have the opportunity to do those things. And some people don't. It's be grateful for what you do have and don't be upset for what you don't have. You could have a lot less than what you do have, right? And it's not always material. Most of the times it's not. Okay? Those things in the grand scheme don't matter at all, right? If you have love in your heart, love in your life, then honestly you're winning. Okay? Love is a wonderful thing. It is honestly, it's very difficult to come by. And it took me a long time to realize that. And so for multiple ways. This perception is reality. It wasn't something that I understood when I was younger. It took a lot of soul searching, a lot of self-reflection to understand this, right? And I was so once again, I'm gonna talk about what I've experienced. These, so my examples is what I've experienced. I'm not just speaking on others' behalf. So I used to get frustrated very, very easily all the time, any little thing. I had anger issues when I was younger, really no reason to, right? So I would get mad over the smallest things. I would yell, I'd get upset, things wouldn't go my way. It would frustrate me. It would I mean, basically, I would think negatively in a lot of ways. Yeah, I still joked around a lot, I was still a goofy kid. But in a lot of ways, there were a lot of negative thoughts going through my head and seeing things like, expecting the worst, always expecting the worst. And then over time, and going into ninth grade, I had very big anger issues um, going into ninth grade. And in eighth grade, I got into a fight on a basketball court, punched a kid a couple times. Granted, it shouldn't have happened, but I mean, you get in that state, and you kind of just get like you go blank. Your mind just like it. I don't even know how to explain it, but it was like you like black out, and then all of a sudden it's just happened. Basically, like you're there, but you're not there. You're kind of just like sitting back and watching everything unfold. But anyway, so that happens, and it wasn't necessarily that day, but over the next few weeks, few months, I started to realize like, man, I really need to work on this anger issue. And so I did a lot of work on controlling my anger, suppressing my anger. And I didn't necessarily at that point start to understand, perception is reality or law of attraction, what you put out is what you get back, but this was the first step to that level of understanding. So I mean, I worked at it. I worked at this all the time, actively focusing on, controlling my anger. I would start to take deep breaths, not necessarily understanding it the same way I do now, but I would start to take deep breaths, calm myself down, and push the anger away. And it worked for a little bit. I mean, I since ninth grade, my ability to control my anger has greatly improved. Obviously, I'm a grown man. It's something I've been working on for years. So yeah, like, yeah, it is well in hand at this point. But it started back then when I realized it, and so I worked on it. I worked on it and got better and better and better at controlling my anger. And so from that point, I just started to become a happier kid. Like I said, not like I wasn't happier before or happy before, but I just started to like things just seemed to start falling into place more. and not on a grand scale, just small things here and there. Um, but they would fall into place. But I still wasn't doing what I needed to do in regards to, putting out what I want to get back, right? I was still putting out these thoughts of, lack of confidence in areas. Like there were some areas I had tons of confidence, but then there were other areas where I lacked confidence a heavy amount, even though I was, outwardly goofing around all the time and gave off this one thing, not because I was trying to impress anybody, but I was just doing things and I didn't care what the hell they saw me. And I was like, okay, whatever. I'm gonna wear this today. It doesn't matter. I don't care what I'm wearing. I don't care what they think about me because it doesn't matter. And so I've had that mindset for a long time. And that is fine because it helped me stay authentic. So then that is the main frequency, the main vibration that I was putting off was authenticity. And so I was doing that for years. But however, I lacked confidence, right? And so where I needed it the most, um, I wasn't able to receive love the way I needed to receive it from certain, areas. Like simple enough, my dating life was absolutely atrocious until basically a few years ago. And then it picked up and now I have a girlfriend who's probably going to be, well, not probably is definitely going to be my wife one day. So, you know, things have definitely picked up. But it came with that confidence. I mean, it took years of working on it, but I was always putting off um this weak mentality when it came to women, right? I wasn't putting off that confidence. I wasn't, you know, putting out what I wanted to get back. Okay, I was putting out the fear of rejection, and so I was getting rejected. Okay, and that takes a toll on you because then the more you get rejected, especially in that category in the dating scene, the more you think you're going to get rejected. So then the more you act like you're going to get rejected before you even try, and then the more you get rejected because you're already scared of rejection. So it's a vicious cycle, right? And it took a long time for me to work out of that. And a lot of that came from, a lot of me working out of that came through meditation, through my research in this sector. And, eventually I ended up realizing like, hey, just like, and of course, it's easier said than done. They tell you be confident. Um, just go up there and honestly, who cares if they say no? And for the longest time, I would try to think that, but I couldn't act on it. I would think like, yeah, you know what? I don't care if I get rejected. I'm going to go up there and do my thing. And, it for a long time, it was easier said than done. It just didn't work for whatever reason. I had confidence in every other area except for the dating. All right, I lacked confidence for a long time. Um, and then it got to the point where I just said, you know what, screw it. I'm just gonna do whatever, say whatever, and see what happens. So I started doing that, and it worked every now and again. Like, I got some nice conversations and whatnot. It started sparking. But nothing real because I hadn't found a groove yet. It was like I was just putting stuff out there, but it wasn't necessarily an authentic me. I was just going, I mean, it was, but it wasn't. I don't really know how to explain it, right? So then over time, I just, kept working on it, but kept trying to put out that confidence, kept working on that confidence. And it was a battle. It was a give and take. But, eventually we found it. And then I was able to put out that confidence or that I was able to take my normal attitude, my day-to-day attitude, and bring it to the dating world. And, I was able to see success. And it was also the point when I stopped trying so hard, right? I was constantly on the apps, constantly, swiping, doing all that stuff. And it was literally the day after I quit all the apps and stopped doing that. The day after is when I found my future wife. The day after, when I decided I'm done, I'm stopping, I'm giving up. right? The day after is when I found my future wife. So I can't make this up. It was like, okay, I'm stopped trying, whatever happens, happens. And the way I think about it is like a hose, right? Like you're 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 the hose, and when you're trying too hard, it's like it's kinked up. It just can't flow. And then you relax and the water starts to flow, and now it's able to come out and do its job, and everything is peachy keen. Okay. So that's one aspect. That's one way that that worked. I was I've stopped perceiving myself as a dating failure and transitioned into the point where, all right, I gave up, I stopped caring, and then everything worked out in my favor. Uh, I don't know how to explain it, but it was like that. Once brought my normal, authentic personality into the dating world, that's when everything turned around for me, right? So didn't see this dating world as something different. I didn't see myself as a failure anymore. I just saw myself as me and acted as me. And from there, I was able to, have success. And I think that's a big thing. We see certain, areas in life as, more daunting, and so they become more daunting. We see them as more difficult, and so they become more difficult. We see them as things we can't achieve, and so all of a sudden we just can't achieve them, right? But if that's the case, if looking at something and as difficult and it becomes more difficult, then why not look at something as easy and then it becomes more easy, right? It's a belief. If the I am, right? Like I am constantly burning fat and building muscle. Okay? I am a full-time paid author. I am the host of a podcast that has 1 million followers and subscribers. Right? These things, like, I know that they're going to happen. They are happening. I am constantly healing myself. Right? These things are happening. Okay? And everything's coming into alignment because I perceive them as my reality. And that's what it's all about. If you perceive something as your reality, you believe it, it will eventually start to line up, but the energy has to go towards it. Right? The effort has to go towards it. You have to put the work in, right? It's an interesting balance because you have to put the work in. It has to be authentic, but you can't force it, right? If you force something, it's just not going to work out. You can't force it. You just need to let it flow, right? The Tao. I was on something else I talked about, but the Tao, basically the energy, the source, right? It flows. You can't force it. It just is. It's just there, right? So just it's the energy of life. Life's energy source is the Tao, is it's just there. Just let it flow and focus on what you need to focus, perceive everything as being yours, and then put the energy to what you want most, and it will come to you. It will come to you. It may take time. It probably will take time. Most things don't happen overnight, but they'll fall in piece by piece, piece by piece, piece by piece. It's like a puzzle, right? It will all come together. It will all work out. But it's how you perceive it, okay? I tell my students all the time that, or I'll always say to them, they'll be like, "Oh yeah, I'm not good at this." And I said, "Yeah, with that attitude." Right? So it's always it's an attitude. You can control attitude and effort. It's the only two things you can actually control, right? So you might as well have a positive attitude and put forth proper effort into everything you do. The more you do that, the more it comes, right? And just enjoy what comes your way. Enjoy what happens. Don't put too much pressure on yourself. Don't don't expect the worst before anything happens, right? It you know, I heard a great quote one time in a movie, and cannot remember the movie, but it had um, Reese Witherspoon, Tobey Maguire, and the mom from Malcolm in the Middle. And it was that movie where they go back in time to that TV show, and it's like um, black and white and they're doing their thing. But anyway, so they come back and he's talking to his mom, and she's like 40 at the time, and she's crying her eyes out because she says, "I just don't know what happened. I don't know what went wrong in my life. It wasn't supposed to be like this." And then Tobey Maguire, her son, looks at her and he says, he's like, "Mom, it's just life. It's not supposed to be anything. It just is." Right? Life is just life. It's not supposed to be anything. We need to stop putting so much pressure on ourselves and just experience everything. Just enjoy it. Just let it roll. Right? Let's just do what we can while we can and enjoy every minute of it. Right? There's beauty in everything. Even the most negative aspect. There's beauty in everything. Okay? And it's nice to stop and smell the roses, as they say, to take a walk and look around, look at the sky around us, look at the flowers, look at the birds, look at the water when we're around it. Like these things are beautiful. Nature's beautiful. The world around us is absolutely beautiful, right? But I see life that way. I see the days as beautiful. I'm glad to wake up in the morning. Like obviously I'm tired sometimes and it's more difficult some days. I'm sore, right? Especially now with I rolled my ankle on Monday night, but it's healing quickly. I'm walking just fine, 2 days later, right? So yeah, how you perceive something is more than likely how it's going to come into your life. Law of attraction. Please look it up. As always, don't just take my word for it. Please look up anything that you're curious about, anything you don't trust, just anything and everything. Always look it up. Always do your own research. Always try to experience everything for yourself. Of course, this entire life of ours is just about experiences. And that's really all we can do is just try to experience it. Okay? So don't expect anything, right? Don't force anything. Expect good things to come to you, right? That's I mean that's really it. If you have a positive outlook, more things will happen to you that are positive. If it's negative, more things that are going to happen to you that are negative, right? So keep it positive. Keep it positive, baby. It's how things always work out. Okay? Perception is reality. And I'm going to leave y'all with that. This has been episode 12 of I'm So Beastly. I'm Mr. Richard. Like, subscribe, follow, share, all that jazz. Comment, do it, don't do it, up to you. But we will catch you next time on episode 13. And honestly, there's no telling what that episode is going to be about. Um, no clue at this point, but we will get there and you will find out when I release episode 13. But yeah, I will catch y'all next time.